I love Diablo. It's an iconic franchise that has always held a special place in my heart. With it being many years since the release of Diablo 3 and Blizzard hinting at multiple projects based off this series, I thought I'd take some time and discuss everything I would love to see in Diablo 4. As always, this is my own personal wish list, and I want to hear yours in the comments below. I want to be upfront with everyone watching. My history with these games starts with Diablo 2 and runs up through Diablo 3's expansion, Rise of the Necromancer. I missed out on the first one, and I know many are split on how 3's skill system differed significantly from 2. We'll get to that, trust me. But I want to start with the story and overall aesthetic I'm hoping to see in Diablo 4. While I do typically enjoy globe hopping and different biomes in a game, I would truly love to see a return that focuses more on Diablo 3's first and fifth acts, rather than those that make up the middle. Fighting at Bastion's Keep really scratches that Helm's Deep itch, but the desert and jungle levels just before that seem to drag on and on. Returning to the dark and somewhat horror-centric roots of this series would definitely add a renewed sense of dread. This would also tie back into the narrative and this dire feeling that should permeate throughout the game. Focusing on a more intimate tale as opposed to a world-ending one would be a welcome change of pace too. I wouldn't want to scale back the number of enemies by any means, but another "you are the one true savior" story feels exhausted at this point. Also, more of those gorgeous cinematics and possibly another anime-inspired separate story akin to the ones regarding the angels and the demons would only bolster the package. While the tale being spun or the loot grind itself are the typical hooks for this saga, it has always been the classes to me that are most compelling. Usually, in each new entry, old classes are cast aside and variants take their place. However, with the recent inclusion of the Necromancer, I would truly love to see all the classes from Diablo 3 return and possibly be reworked. It also seemed odd that almost any class could have a pet/summon, but maybe that's just me. Truly though, I would jump at the chance to see new heroes join the roster. One unique character that found their home in Diablo 2 was the Druid, a powerful mage capable of transforming into various animals or summoning devastating elemental calamities. While the wizard fills the role of hurling ice, lightning, and fire in equal measure, I thought bringing the Druid into the fold for Diablo 4 would be great if we target the transformation ability. That being said, I would like it if we took it one step further and made our Druid demonic in nature. For earlier abilities, we could look to Divinity Original Sin 2's Morphling class, a character able to transform an arm into a tentacle to lash out at a distance, or grow horns on their head to add piercing damage to a devastating charge. Keeping it in the lore of Diablo, our hero could learn from particular foes, harnessing their abilities for their own. While turning an arm into a mutated claw or growing a pair of mucus-covered wings has its advantages, full demonic transformations are a must. Perhaps they could mirror the original trio in Diablo 1, with a form focusing on melee combat, another throwing barbs and spines from afar, and a third gaining access to dark magic. The versatility of this class cannot be understated. Another class idea I had was perhaps splitting up the Demon Hunter into two classes, with one focused on guns and traps, and the other filling the role of a pure archer. Think more classic archetypes like a crazed mechanic, hunting for treasure and picking spots to make grand firefights while their turrets thunder behind. On the other hand, the archer would play more like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, preferring to keep at a distance, but unafraid to engage at close range, should it come to it. While side quests have never been a huge focus of Diablo in the past, I think there's a lot of untapped potential in this specific area. I look at inspirations like The Witcher 3 for meaningful and truly optional moments, especially if the game offered you specific and unique items only achievable through these means. These plots focused on story could give the game much needed gravitas, in between the arcade-like endgame, which pits you against a truly endless and lore-deprived tide of foes. Speaking of the game overall, there are just too many difficulty settings that offer so little when it comes to Diablo 3 that it borders on ridiculous. I think there should definitely be a challenge for those looking for it, but when Torment 13 is the last one, I think it's gone too far. At these higher difficulties, only specific sets of gear that bolster only one or maybe two moves are extremely effective. I'd personally rather see gear sets that only consist of 2 to 3 pieces of armor that make any spell you prefer viable. This allows people to grind for gear that they actually want, as opposed to feeling forced into a specific set of spells. Which brings me to my next point about leveling. In Diablo 2, players were given multiple skill trees in which to allocate points after they had leveled. Many enjoy this as it allowed one to craft a character how they see fit, but for others you could quickly paint yourself into a corner by neglecting to go all in on one tree. In Diablo 3, each level you were given a new spell or variant of a previous spell. This allowed players to switch their characters up at any time with no consequence, affording them access to the full arsenal of a character's powers. For me personally, I'd like to see a hybrid of these two. Allow skill trees to return, but have them more akin to the X-Men Legends franchise. In those games, players were given most all of their skills but had to choose which to take and power up. Branching mini-trees would further specialize your character. I understand Blizzard's desire to make the game accessible to many, but it never made sense to me why my flame-dispensing wizard suddenly learned an icy magic missile upon leveling up. As tough as it sounds, my dream would be to have all spells and abilities be options in the endgame, instead of forcing certain ones down our throats. Now, I'm no game designer, and just by the overall structure of the game, certain powers would just be better than others. However, my aforementioned point about smaller gear sets amping up those abilities could alleviate those woes. In summary, let me pick the spells I want to empower, make smaller armor sets for boosting particular abilities, and allow for more viability in the late game. Lastly, I would personally rather grind for specific passive enhancements to my abilities, rather than allocate small numerical increases to my critical hit percentage. Maybe I'm alone there, but it just feels so tedious. For anyone who has seen my work before, you know I love co-op, and Diablo has never been an exception. One thing Blizzard is known for is creating incredible raids in World of Warcraft. What's stopping them from doing it in Diablo 4? Imagine a 4 or 8 person raid in a Diablo game. Sure, it would be chaotic, but extremely rewarding. Creating specific demon raid bosses that require multiple heroes to bring it down would be exhilarating. Adding this sort of mode to the endgame with periodic updates could extend the life of this next title even longer than Diablo 3 if rifts and seasonal events still remained. If it isn't clear by now, I really love Diablo. The potential here is limitless, and I cannot wait to see what Blizzard cooks up next. I've always thought the series could make an excellent third-person action game, but I digress. However, what do you want to see in the next installment? Leave your wish list in the comments below, or tweet it at me so we can discuss it. I'm at JimmyGood013. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate the like, and feel free to subscribe/hit the bell icon to see more like it. When more Diablo news comes up, I will definitely be talking about it on my weekly podcast, The Critical Podcast. Also, if you want to support the channel, consider sharing us with a friend, buying a shirt over on our Spreadshirt, or donating to us over on patreon.com/criticalreviews, where you can get many rewards, including getting your face drawn by our artist, who did the art for this video, thank you Jorn, and put it into a card game. Either way, thanks for dropping by, and just remember to adapt and overcome.